Okay, and welcome back for the third video about getting this character here to shoot some bullets out of his gun. Now, one thing I forgot to do in the first video is this game object here, the empty game object, our bullet spawn point. It's a good idea to name it so we know what it is. So if I go up to here, we're going to call it bullet spawn. There we go. So, what we need to do is that script that we put in, we need to attach it to this player. So I'm going to click on player up here, go to add component, and go down to scripts. And you can see all the scripts that are in there. There's some that are built in, but the one we've got, player controller, single player bullet, that's the one we need. So I'm going to click on that one on our player. So I've gone to player, add component, scripts, player controller, single player bullet script. And there we go. So I'm going to do something strange now, but bear with me. We are going to create something called a prefab. Now, prefab is a prefab in building is something that's already made, and then you just put it down onto the building site, and you don't have to do any building, you don't have to spend months of building. And it's actually quite similar here. So I'm going to drag this whole thing from player into my assets, and it's going to create player. You see here it says player dot prefab, and what that means is I'm going to be able to just drag it and put it in the scene wherever I want, and it's creating lots of versions. But I don't want any players on here at all, so I'm going to delete all the players. So actually on the scene you will see nothing apart from your camera and the light, and you'll have your prefab down here. What we need to do next is create a bullet and make that a prefab as well. So game object, 3D object, and call a sphere, and we need to call it bullet. The transforms need to be, the position actually doesn't make any difference at all, because if you remember rightly, our bullet spawn point is where its position is going to go. So that bit isn't important. Its rotation, it's a sphere, it doesn't matter. But its scale is important, because if it's too big, it'll look silly. So 0.2, 0.2, and 0.2. Now the other section here is to put some physics onto it. If it doesn't have physics, it's not going to move in a direction by itself. So I can go to physics and rigid body. If I need to find one, this magnifying glass up here, if I typed in rigid body, I'd be able to find anything that just had that in it, and it's the top one, not 2D because we're working in 3D. All of these stay the same except for use gravity. Now this is really important, otherwise you'll shoot it and it will just fall straight to the ground. So we untick that. And this rigid body means it'll bounce off things as well, so it'll hit other people, hit walls, bounce off them if it needs to. And it allows it to have a velocity of speed. You can obviously create a material if you need to, but I'm happy with what I've got. I'm just going to drag the bullet into my assets to create a bullet prefab. See bullet.prefab, and delete it from here. Still just got main camera and directional light. So I'm going to go back to our player. And our script here, as I mentioned, has bullet prefab, bullet spawn, and bullet speed. Now, hopefully it'll be obvious that the bullet prefab is our bullet prefab here. If you click on the little circle, you will see all of the prefabs that actually exist. And we just want that one, the bullet one. Our bullet spawn needs to be our bullet spawn point. Now, obviously, there's nothing up here anymore, so we need to find it in our player prefab. If you look, there's a tiny little right arrow here, and it's got all the different parts of our character. Our capsule is the main part, so that doesn't pop out, but the visor, gun, and this square is our bullet spawn. I need to drag this onto the bullet spawn position. Now you may have to do this a few times, because if you click on this, it goes away from here. So you need to click back on player and drag it over. But that's fine. Bullet speed of 1 is fine, it's a bit slow. You can up that, but 1 is the default. And that's that. I'm actually going to drag this back onto the scene now. The prefabs will make a little bit more sense when we're doing multiplayer. I need to change the position to 0, 0, 0. And you've now got a player that can shoot things. So let's press play. And if I move around, so right and left, forward, backwards, press space, and it shoots out bullets. And you'll see on the left hand side it's doing a clone of the bullet. So it's creating a clone of our prefab, and lots of them, but they all have their own rotation, position, transform, everything like that. As I say, if the bullet's too slow, which, you know, it's okay, but it's a bit slow. If I press the play button again and go back down to here and put something like 10, it's going to be really fast. Press play again. And then press it. You see, it shoots ridiculously fast. Actually, probably more like the speed of a bullet. Less interesting for a game like this, but that works. If you want to, say we said about before on the first tutorial, getting the main camera in. So I can drag the main camera onto the player and we can set it. I've got this set at 1 for Y, -10 at Z. And let's just see what happens for this. Obviously with anything you play around, but you can see I'm moving around because the sky's moving. But if I press space, you can't actually see the bullets because our body's in the way. So you can have a go at moving it a lot closer, moving it higher, and then tilting it down. So obviously these numbers are loose. You can put them as round numbers or just drag it like I have. And now when I press space, I can see the bullet going from the distance. So these are the sort of things that you can do. The next series of videos that I have not going to put up right this second are about adding in multiplayer and adding in things that you can target. So that is creating a player, getting a code for making it move around, and making it create a new bullet. So enjoy, have a play around with that.